Hello everyone, my name is Ryan Zaman and I'm a part of Group A alongside Madison, Topanga, Ruby, and Tatum. Today I will be analyzing 4 research articles that focus on childhood obesity, health interventions, and the impact of the COVID-19 pandemic on children's health. We will examine these studies through 4 key research components: their research design, their level of evidence, any treatment or interventions used, and I will discuss what controls were put into place to strengthen their designs. To start, I will talk about our first article by Nowicka. It's a qualitative study titled Explaining the Complex Impact of the COVID-19 Pandemic on Children with Overweight and Obesity, a comparative ecological analysis of parents' perceptions in 3 countries. On page 4, the design can be found in blue. The study used a qualitative longitudinal design based on thematic analysis of interviews conducted as a randomized control trial, RCT. The level of evidence is a level 2. Intervention can be found in green here. The study was done on early childhood obesity intervention and was conducted across Sweden, Romania, and Spain. The RCT addressed childhood obesity. The strategies can be found on page 5 here in red. Parental support and education on healthy eating and physical activity, home-based changes such as dietary adjustments and structured physical activity, policy-level interventions where some children benefited from school being reopened and others faced prolonged restrictions. Controls can also be found in red here on page 4. Use of RCT framework that ensured children had similar characteristics, which was childhood obesity. Comparative designs, it analyzed 3 different countries. Longitudinal follow-up, parents were interviewed twice over 6 months. And finally, Bronfenbrenner's ecological system theory. They used this framework to understand interactions between individual, family, and societal factors. Moving on to our second article by Rossi. This article is also a qualitative study. Just a little bit. This article is titled Concerns of Parents About Children's Overweight and Obesity During the COVID-19 Pandemic. Now, if you scroll down to page 112, here the design can be found. This study uses a qualitative descriptive approach and as an analysis method, the Grainheim and Lundman's conventional content approach. The level of evidence was a level 6. Intervention, not applicable for this article. And controls were the Guba and Lincoln's criteria used for trustworthiness, which included expert checks, purpose sampling with diverse perspectives, data saturation, and bracketing. This all can be found on page 113 here. Guba and Lincoln's criteria were used for the trustworthiness of the study. Therefore, sufficient time allocation, prolonged engagement, peer check, expert check, and member check were used to maintain the data credibility. In addition, external check, bracketing, a panel of experts, and sampling with maximum diversity were used to obtain data dependability, confirmability, and transferability, respectively. Going back to page 112, here, this next quote can be found. The sampling process continued until sufficient information about the research questions was obtained. When data saturation was reached, data collection came to an end. Moving on to article number 3. This article is a quantitative study by Stagger. This one. This article is titled The Effects of COVID-19 Virtual Learning on Body Fat and Insulin Resistance in Adolescents with Overweight or Obesity. Move these around a little bit, sorry. Okay. The design was quantitative quasi-experimental design. This can be seen highlighted in blue. The level of evidence is a level 3. The information for this is highlighted in purple. And the interventions and treatments were not applicable for this article. This study did not implement a new treatment, but analyzed data from an intervention in the original study. The original study used a sleep intervention for study skills control. This study also did not use any new treatments, but instead looked at changes in body fat and insulin resistance during the pandemic. The controls can be found in green. Normative comparison data compared results to age, sex, and BMI matched data from the National Health and Nutrition Examination Survey to determine if changes were abnormal. Within subject comparison, each participant was compared to themselves over time, pre-COVID versus during COVID. Statistical adjustments, controlled BMI Z-score, time between assessments, sex, and race when comparing insulin resistance changes. Now, moving on to our final article by Sarika. This is also a quantitative study. This article is titled E-Learning During COVID-19 Pandemic, a Surge in Childhood Obesity. The design can be found here in pink. It's a cross-sectional research design. The level of evidence is a level 4. Intervention was also not applicable for this study. Control, first one can be found in teal, which is right here. BMI of the children. Throughout the article, there is clear parameters that researchers set in order to measure the BMI of the children. Paired t-tests, found here in green. P-value under 0.05, compares pre and post lockdown. And then finally, in purple, you can see here, customized questionnaire verifies the children's height and weight before and after the pandemic, as well as demographic information. And that is it for the tow table and highlighted articles. Now I will compare and contrast the articles. Let me pull up my notes. 1 second. NOWICA 2022, the first article I had mentioned, this one, has the highest level of evidence due to its RCT-based longitudinal tracking. Stagger 2023 has the next level, highest level of evidence, and Sarika and Razi have the lowest level of evidence that I had mentioned. NOWICA 2022, this article, was also the only study with an intervention, while others focused on data analysis. NOWICA and Stagger use stronger control methods, ensuring more reliable conclusions, while Razi and Sarika relied on observational frameworks. In summary, these articles show how different research designs impact study strength and reliability. NOWICA provides the strongest evidence due to its RCT-based approach and intervention. Stogger contributes valuable quantitative insights, but no new intervention was introduced. Razi and Sarika offer descriptive data, but their lower levels of evidence make them less conclusive as compared to the other articles. Understanding research design is essential when evaluating the effectiveness of interventions in public health. Thank you for watching, and I look forward to your responses.